So I've been talking about the sacred and holding or entering sacred consciousness. And there are many ways to do this. A lot of people use meditation, using different awarenesses of the mind, meditation, contemplation, staring at a candle, whatever. A lot of people use singing. A lot of people are able to connect to the sacred, say on Sundays when they go and do their thing. It's Sunday morning right now for me, and this is my church, if there is one for me. And, you know, a lot of people use drumming. You know, maybe you realize as a kid there were certain things that just fascinated you about nature, looking at different insects, butterflies, looking at fish, even playing with your pet when you were a child. All these things can tend to elevate these senses, these very subtle senses within us that are natural to us. They're part of the gifts that we've been given. And it's not until later when we're acculturated and conditioned through, you know, the Western school system that, you know, obscure branches of mathematics or chemistry, you know, should be the locus and meaning of our life, instead of exploring forms of consciousness and forms of life itself. You know, it's one thing to study about something, and it's another thing to experience that thing. One is from the outside, and one is the being, is the doing, is the experiencing. So really I see the whole consciousness movement from the 60s through the New Age movement, through something that really can't even be named today. You know, it's gone into and past the environmental movement, this kind of awakening beyond the Western abstractionism that the Greeks and others have passed down to us, to realizing that we are on a live planet. We are part of a living being. So just briefly like to talk to you about things that can help you tune in and things that prevent you from tuning in to the sense of the sacred. I already mentioned experiences like drumming, contemplation, etc. Whatever it is that intrigues you. Maybe it's getting out of the city and looking up and to see, you know, what the sky really looks like. When it's so black with the stars out there that it feels like you could just fall into it. That you could just leave this planet and fall into infinity. You don't get to see that in the city. Why? Well, because people don't understand that light pollution is very bad. It's like noise pollution and chemistry pollution and garbage and everything else. It's just noise. So being in a natural environment will help you to cultivate a sense of the sacred. Being true to yourself will cultivate a sense of the sacred. Figure out who you are and what you're about. Now, things that prevent you from tuning in so easily to a sense of the sacred are things that bring your consciousness down. So I'm saying from a child, our interest in things causes our awareness and consciousness to expand outward. And when we get conditioned by school and society and different things that we do to our consciousness and our bodies, those things push us down and prevent us from obtaining a sense of the sacred. And then instead of being, you know, sacred awakened beings, we're these, you know, conditioned almost robots who, you know, will do whatever society says. So, you know, to really be yourself and to tune into the sacred, things like alcohol do not help you. I did an experiment like a year and a half ago where, you know, I normally don't consume alcohol. I don't eat meat. And for this 1 week, like 5 days in a row, I had every night with my evening meal like 3 ounces of beer. 3 ounces, right? And after a week, I noticed my vibration going down. I noticed my ability to tune into things was like a blanket was being put on it. So alcohol does not help you. It may be, you know, part of our culture, Western culture. It may seem like the cool thing to do, but if you want to tune into the sacred, you know, try an experiment. Try going without alcohol. Alcohol turns you into these lower vibrations, tunes you into lower vibrations, into things that are just silly. and they're not connecting you to the higher dimensions. I mentioned I was a vegetarian, eating meat. You know, the consciousness of an animal as it's slaughtered, that consciousness, that vibration goes into the flesh, the bones, the muscles. And when you eat that, you're picking up on the fear vibration, let alone all the health benefits that they've, you know, realized over the last, you know, however many decades. And people have made the shift to, you know, instead of eating red meat cows, to eating buffalo, because it's a leaner meat and it's a little bit healthier, but still. If you want to tune into the higher vibrations, you should try to eat less meat. You know, try to shift to fish. And I got to tell you, after even giving up fish and chicken and everything, you know, over a decade ago, you know, I feel great. There's no problem getting protein. There's no problem not getting enough to eat or anything. There are plenty of products that taste like everything that you like, that are made from other vegetable-based proteins and other things. So I just invite you to try altering your diet. Try changing the choices that you make. One of the worst ones is smoking. Either smoking or being around smokers, there is some heavy, heavy stuff going on. You know, tobacco is a sacred plant teacher, and when it is used in a non-sacred way, the effects on the body are devastating. And it's not just the smoke and the tar and the chemicals in it, but there are other beings who come around to mess with you. When you open your field up like that through smoking, you're just damaging yourself at levels that are nearly impossible for the average person to contemplate. So I invite you to really take care of your bodies. If you're eating a lot of red meat, if you're drinking a lot of alcohol, even in moderation, you know, give it up for a month. Do an experiment. How do you feel a month after no alcohol? How do you feel after kicking the cigarette habit? These things and giving up these things will raise your vibration, and your ability to tune into the sacred will be revolutionized.